Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good Wednesday. Might be Thursday morning for some people. Different time zones, of course. Apologies for being a minute late there. I just had to scramble to get one or two little things sorted before I started, but welcome to Reganelite's Watch Along. We're going to be watching and reacting to certain clips and videos online. Very interested, lots to discuss tonight, guys. Man, there is a lot to talk about, that is for sure. So, let me just see who we've got in the chat there. Pete's Music, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Ja, one of our moderators, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Stephen Banker there, good to see you. I'm fed up with the 100% the fireworks. Oh yeah, the fireworks. Yeah. Dolly has resorted to hiding behind the sofa, and we can't get her out even with treats because of them. I know it's very sad for Dolly. Jasper's okay, but yeah, Dolly's not. So I totally, yeah, so everyone give their condolences to poor Dolly right now. Everyone's saying hello. Indie Duck, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well. Visiting cat is nowhere to be seen. Yup, cats are all hiding. All hiding. They are indeed. I'll tell you who is here. Speaking of hiding, well, shall we? Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. She's a bit of a she's hiding from the realities that is coming, and that is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves. I just don't know if she actually knows what she's doing, because the more I read on this, the more I hear from experts, the more I think she's losing the absolute plot when it comes to her role as Chancellor of the Exchequer, and I keep hearing so many different options about what she could do as Chancellor when it comes to this budget. And even though this is a small clip, I've already seen the full video by Richard Murphy on this, and it's diabolical. It's diabolical that Rachel Reeves is going to be putting up taxes. But it's not going to be the right kind of taxes. I do feel she's going to put taxes up on the wealthy, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the level it needs to be. And I feel like, yeah, that the working class people, and I think is going to suffer, and people on entitlements are going to suffer at a time when we still have a mental health crisis, a cost of living crisis. And the thing that screams more than anything is we have an inequality crisis where too much money is in the hands of the wealthiest individuals, and not enough of it's been spread around. And it seems like the Chancellor doesn't have a solution to the problems that we have. Here, Richard Murphy here with I want to this clip here from Green Organised really does sum up a lot of things. Rachel Reeves is going to tax work, not wealth. Yet again, Labour are giving their bankers mates the city a leg up while making regular people worse off. Let's give some help to the people that actually need it.
Rachel Reeves is panicking. There is no other description that I can offer of her behaviour this morning. Rachel Reeves is cowering in front of the headlights like a very obviously frightened rabbit. As a result, we're in for more tax, most especially on those on average incomes, and not on wealth, because otherwise she would, of course, upset the city. We're in for no growth. We're in for austerity. We're in for continuing child poverty. But we're also going to have a happy city of London, and all of that simply lays the path for Farage. Incompetence on this scale is quite exceptional. It's right up there with Kwasi Kwarteng. I knew she'd be bad. I said so before Labour was ever elected, but I never realised she'd be this bad.
Ouch. Ouch is the one word I need to say there. Yeah. I would be furious if the 2-child benefit cap is not brought up brought up at the budget, I will be furious, because this is something that needs to happen. It needs to happen. I'm generally starting to feel like that Labour are really starting to lose their grip here. Because here's the thing, guys. When Labour came into power, I generally believed, and it's fine, you know what, I do still think that this is better than the Conservatives. Some people will disagree. But my God, there have been some real clusterfucks. And we were told at the last budget that we would not get anything like that again. Rachel Reeves said she ain't going to get anything like this again. And there's a tweet that kind of sums up just how bad it is. Oh my God! Don't tell me I haven't got the tweet. It was actually one from the Conservatives. Where is it? I don't have it here. Damn it. I thought I had it here. Oh, sausages. 1 second. It was actually a tweet from the Conservatives, believe it or not. I thought I bookmarked that damn tweet. I did not. Damn it. Well, this one is about as close as I can get to it. Boris Johnson in 2019. I won't raise national insurance. Boris Johnson in 2021. I'm raising national insurance. Rachel Reeves in 2024. I'm not raising any more taxes. Rachel Reeves to LBC yesterday.
Read my lips, we will not be raising taxes on income or VAT or national insurance.
From April, we will have a new UK-wide 1.25% health and social care levy on earned income.
I'm not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes.
Each of us must do our bit.
Your language has changed. Now you're talking...
I wouldn't read too much into that,
well,
to
you're
be
saying
honest,
each of us
Andrew.
must do our bit. If there was a more blunt way of saying, I'm going to raise income tax, I can't think of it.
Well, look, I will do the individual measures, and that's not what today was about.
What was the point of it? Generally a question. What was the point of the speech that she done yesterday? I still don't know what the bloody point of it was. Because she didn't tell people whether she was raising taxes or not. And it was just gathering the media for a bunch of waffle, which is normal when you listen to Reform Russia. But this is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the second most powerful person in the UK. And, not even giving an inkling, not even being straight with the media, not even being straight with the public about what she's actually going to do at the budget is so fucking infuriating. It's infuriating for businesses. It's infuriating for the public. It's infuriating for politicians. It puts a lot of people who are on the low end of things, on the lower end of the threshold of terms of income, from people on entitlements and whatnot. It leaves them incredibly, giving them a great deal of anxiety and stress, because they have no indications either, so they can only go by what social media and what the media is telling them, because everything is all speculation. It's all speculation. And the big speculation is, of course, tax rises, because she won't rule it out. She won't rule out going back on their pledges. And it's just so fucking bad. It's just so bad here. Clive Lewis yesterday saying, BBC Newsnight, don't come back asking for more tax. Unlock the box. Change the physical rules. And Labour MP Clive Lewis tells Victoria Derbyshire what Chancellor Rachel Reeves should do in the budget.
In 2008, in the great financial crash, we were more exposed than most other economies. COVID, Brexit, we've had some knocks.
Yeah.
And to say that, well, the international headwinds have changed, yes, they have, but those...
Now, look, we all understand that COVID, Brexit, the war in Ukraine, there are always going to be global impacts that affect our economy in some way, shape, or form. There's always going to be things like that. And you have to always be prepared for that. You can't expect full, perfect, smooth sailing coming in. I think, yeah, the mindset of the first original Labour Party was when the budget came in and whatnot, they weren't, I think maybe they weren't taking into account the tariffs that were going to come from Donald Trump. Well, you have to expect things to not always go straight as planned. You have to have contingencies. You have to have ways to be ready for and prepared for any kind of encounters. You can control what goes on in the UK to a certain extent. You can't control what happens outside. You can't control the global markets. But you can, to a certain extent, control the UK markets to a certain extent because you have power. You have power to do so. And I just feel like that the Chancellor is being dictated by global markets, by businesses, rather than actually making the necessary changes that needs to be made in order to help people right now. That's the thing that sticks out to me the most. Like, it's been more than a year and a half since Labour have been in government. And I have said consistently that we need to see what Labour does. And I am getting impatient with what Labour are doing. And I really am going to lose my shit if I don't get something positive out of the budget. If I don't get something positive out of the budget, I will lose my fucking mind. Because it feels like to me that the Labour government are on the Titanic, heading for a bloody iceberg, and they can't be bothered to turn the ship right now. Because they are doing so badly in the polls, and they're not responding accordingly to it. Scott Hayes, good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. Ricky Dallas there on Twitch. Hello there. Hope you're doing well. Hi, just for curiosity, is the UK doing great talking about salaries and jobs? I don't follow the actual news about there. Sorry for my misknowledge. No, it's I don't know where you're from, Ricky. Ricky, but yeah, the UK as a whole is not doing overall well. It really is not. 14 years of a Conservative Party being in charge we had austerity, which led to a severe cut in our public service. People are a lot worse off than they were 14 years ago. And we've had a new Labour government for a year and a half, for more than a year and a half. And people are rightfully so getting frustrated, and they want to see something. Want to see some improvements to their lives, and people aren't feeling it in their pockets. And this is also why many people are turning to Reform UK, or as I like to call them, Reform Russia, there. Anyway, let's hear the rest of what Clive has to say here.
Things are kind of baked into the system. She knew it. We knew it. We knew that there's a perma-crisis. We know that there's global instability. You know, I've been giving speeches about that in Parliament for the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm sure Rachel Reeves knew about it. Okay. To now turn around and say that the global headwinds mean that I'm going to have... Don't come back asking for more tax. Come back and change the fiscal rules. It's a self-imposed box. She's literally locked herself in and thrown the key away. Get the key back, unlock the box, change the fiscal rules, because what the markets want is stability. They want a plan. And at the moment, they're causing, her fiscal rules, I think, are causing more instability. And that's not what we want.
No. I just feel like she's not been... I don't think she's been honest with she's not been honest with the public. And by her not being honest, I feel like she's upsetting the markets as well. Like, she needs to get a balance. I know look, don't get me wrong, like, being a chancellor is absolutely impossible. It's an impossible job. It's a very stressful job. And there's so many people you've got to please. I understand that. But you know, you need to have experts around you to help you make the right decisions as well. And I do question the kind of people who are in her ear as well when it comes to the decisions that she is making. And I just don't think that she's making the right decisions, and I don't think the people around her are helping her make the right decisions either. Mr. E, good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. Starmer could just tax the rich, not cut benefits for the poor. So simple. You know what? It sounds so simple, but to me, it feels like they make it more complicated than they need to, Jow. I generally feel like they make it more complicated than they need to. It is frustrating. Just a reminder of just how cruel and evil people are. Let's just never forget The language that Margaret Thatcher says here.
Let us never forget this fundamental truth. The state has no source of money.
This is 100% bullshit. This is why Margaret Thatcher is considered one of the most vile and most evil politicians that the UK ever had. There is always money in the UK. If a chancellor, if a politician ever tells you we have no money, they are lying to you. We always have money. Yeah, we always have money. We have our own currency and we can manage that. It is not true.
Other than the money people earn themselves. If the state wishes to spend more, it can do so only by borrowing your savings.
Not true.
Or by taxing you more. And it's no good thinking that someone else will pay. That someone else is you. There is no such thing as public money.
That's also bollocks.
There is only taxpayers' money.
I hate that woman. Here's Rachel Reeves with a very specifically entwined tweet to make you feel like everything's gonna be fine, guys. Everything's gonna be fine.
At the budget, I will continue to deliver on the priorities of the British people. We will bear down on waiting lists, on the cost of living, and on the national debt. I will continue to build the strong foundations to secure Britain's future, for a fairer Britain, a more prosperous Britain, a Britain with an economy that works for everyone.
An economy for the few, not for the all, not for the many. An economy for the few, not for the many there, it feels like to me. Ricky on Twitch says, I'm from Spain. After many years with political bipartisanship, our economy is just going down. There's jobs, yeah, but salaries are nonsense. If you have to go shopping, you can only buy 1/4 of the things you bought 15 years ago because of the income taxes this year. Ricky, I'm sorry that inequality is worse off for you in there. I generally mean that. We definitely, things cost more here. There's definitely a sense of inequality. It's not just in Spain and it's not just here. It's not just the US. It's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. A lot of the younger generation in many so-called democratic countries are also just not getting the same kind of benefits, who are working just as hard, if not harder, than their fathers, their grandfathers, and are not bringing home the same kind of money, or they're not able to buy as much as their parents and grandparents used to be, not able to afford the homes that they have. There is that sense of unfairness, and that is quite a reality for a lot of people out there. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Mr. Skims on YouTube. Good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. I'm still watching through some of that video. Thank you for that. I will continue. I'll give it if I get a chance to finish watching it later on. I will do. It's very interesting video. Thank you for sending that on Discord. Appreciate it. That is Vox speech. Jal says. What is that? Words and nothing more than words. Spain is doing badly. Okay then. What a bull crap. Spain has issues with energy costs like housing, just like us. Says Jal there. Well, I don't know what Spain's economy is like. So this is his word. But what I do believe is that inequality is definitely something that is happening in a lot of countries there. Don't know what you mean by is that a political party? Vox extreme right populist there, says Jao. We just had an Aldi lemon schism Posiak. Holy F, it was good, says Pete's Music. Words and nothing more than just words. Well, I don't live in Spain, so I can't speak for it. He says he's from Spain. That's what he's saying. He's saying the economy's going down. I don't know. I haven't looked at Spain's economy anyway. Seems like a system designed to break the chalk in a fist. The more anger that you get, the less you hold, as Mr. E there as well. Jao says that you could also give physical incentives to new companies to create jobs and more taxes, and get equivalents to EU regulations to make it easier there as well, Jao says. Let's see what else is being said here. This is This was Plaid Cymru here, speaking from their position on with the so-called upcoming budget as well here. They're saying 34% of Wales children are living in poverty. Families who are already struggling shouldn't have to pay more for Labour's failings. Rachel Reeves is targeting the wrong people. Plaid Cymru is clear. It's time for those with the broadest shoulders to pay their fair share. You hear... Remember... Do you remember what Keir Starmer said? I'll remind people, for those who don't know. Do you remember what Keir Starmer said in his first speech as Prime Minister on the steps of Downing, outside Number 10? Do you know what he said? He said, those with the broadest shoulders will pay their share. Do I still think that's happened? No. That still has not happened.
Plaid is totally clear on this. We need to tax the wealthiest and have a wealth tax that for people who have assets of more than £10 million, 2% on that would raise £24 billion, and that's what we need to do. We can't tax families anymore. In Wales, we have 34% of children living in poverty. 34%, 1 in 3 children live in poverty.
That's outrageous. 34% in Wales alone. 34%. That's more than a quarter of children living in Wales. What an insane statistic. That's an insane statistic. That is so heartbreaking to hear. You know, we talk about the child poverty in England. And obviously there is child poverty. There's child poverty in other countries as well. I don't know what the levels are in Scotland. If someone wants to give me the numbers, I'm more than happy to read it out in Scotland and Northern Ireland. But 34% in Wales. Like, what is being done to address this? And bear in mind, okay, you have to also bear in mind, yeah, Labour have been in... Now, of course, I accept the premise that obviously Westminster controls a lot of the purse strings, right? But Welsh Labour have been in power for decades and decades of Wales. What have they done to deal with that statistic? That's an outrageous statistic. That should... And we're talking about, again, we come back to this position that the UK is supposed to be one of the richest nations, one of the richest in the world, right? And yet we still have 34% of Welsh children in poverty. Just let that sink in. Absolutely insane.
Most of those are in working families. We can't tax working families anymore. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, we want to encourage people, not discourage them as well. And the other thing is as well is that if there is this, the reality is that over the last several years, or shall we say the last 10 years or so, we've had Brexit, we've had COVID, we've had obviously global conflicts that have been contributing to a lot to that have taken damage on a lot of things, right? But people are not feeling more in their pockets than they did 10 years ago. You know, there is this general consensus, and I have felt this during my time in work as well, is that people are working more for less, and it's not right. Yeah, it's not a case of like there needs to be an acceptance of this, and we're not getting that from politicians, that people should not have to be working more for less. Okay, it's just not right, and it really does frustrate me. 1 in 5, Alison Keir says. So correct. So if I'm good evening, Alison Keir. So correct me if I'm wrong. So 1 in 5 children in Scotland are in the 1 in 5 children in poverty. Is that what you are telling me? 25% in Scotland, 1% too much. 100%. No, I've said this before and I've said this again. No child should ever go hungry. No child should ever be poor, regardless of whatever their background is. And that doesn't just go for the UK. That should be a global thing. Every single child deserves opportunities. Every single one. And money should not be a factor when it comes to giving children a future. Money should never be the factor of, oh, we might not have this money here, or, you know, I don't give a fuck, yeah, I don't give a fuck, yeah, about where the money comes from. Children, every single child matters. Every single one. 31% England. Doesn't surprise me, Mr. E. Thank you for those statistics, guys. Appreciate it. We own it here with a very simple message to the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves here.
But they are are ignoring a big category of spending, and that is...
Sorry, let me go right to the start.
But they are ignoring a big category of spending, and that is the waste of privatisation. For the NHS, they are wasting £10 million a week on the private profits of companies running NHS contracts.
I think it's one of the things that really infuriates me. We know the likes of Platinum and other American companies. We know that they have paid or allegedly, and we're going to say the word allegedly, given money to the current Health Secretary Wes Streeting in the run-up to his role as becoming Health Secretary, in order to allow private companies to have more of a say in our national healthcare service. And we know what should be happening is we should be detangling ourselves from private companies in the NHS. And these contracts are huge amounts of taxpayer money is going through our NHS to these private companies. And rather than that money being put straight into the NHS, where the NHS could use that money themselves and make the necessary, build the necessary equipment, hire the necessary people and whatnot, we're wasting it on bureaucracy with private companies. We should not be using private companies to run our national healthcare service. Yes, I know it's deeply entrenched, but we need to be disentangling this. We need a Zoran Mandami so badly.
If they brought those contracts back into the NHS, they could save £10 million. That's enough to build a new operating theatre every single week. The other category is households. So you are paying a privatisation tax every time you spend money on your water bill or your energy bill. That's because money is flowing out to shareholders in their dividends, and you're also spending more on the cost of capital in the private sector.
And again, our energy bills are not going down. They're not even freezing. They're not going down, right? As of right now, they're still going up. Yeah, we know what our energy bills are going up. You're seeing it. I'm seeing it in them. Yeah, they're still going up. What have Labour done in the last year and a half to do something about that? Now, it's one thing to say it takes time to implement new laws and changes. I accept that. I accept that it takes time for laws and implementations to make a difference. I accept that. That's a point from Phil Morehouse has made many, many times when he has defended Labour. And I accept that policies and changes do take time. I accept that. But what are you doing about the here and now to help people right now who are struggling right now when it comes to these bills? That is the thing I'm putting on the spot, because some people can't wait. Some people need these bills to be frozen or reduced now. What are we doing to address those people who desperately need them to be frozen? We're not doing anything about that. It's all well and good saying we are building for the future, we're making the necessary changes. Yeah, but what about the here and now? Because I've always said that I want to see the changes being made by Labour so that people can start feeling those changes. And still, I am not seeing that, despite the fact we've had more than a year and a half of Labour in power.
Other countries run these services in public ownership. We can do the same thing. The government won't get control of the economy until they bring public services into public control, and most voters across all parties want this. We need to end the 40-year ideological experiment in privatisation and actually save that money that we're wasting right now on privatisation by bringing services into public ownership.
And remember, there's a lot of billionaires, private investors, company capitalist dogs who will spend as much money as they possibly can to keep pushing away from public ownership, from state control into more privatization, more control of the private sectors on things. They want to do this on every single level that they possibly can. And the more money they throw up, there's a lot of politicians who are being bought up by this, who are being paid off to go down these routes. We need more politicians to stand up and tell these private businesses and capitalist dogs, no, the government needs to control these things. The government needs to manage these things. Our water should be controlled by the state. Our energy should be controlled by the state. Our national healthcare service should be run by the state because it has worked for a very, very long time. No worries, Alistair. Safe driving. Safe driving. Public sectors are taxed, and yet privatisation continues as costs increase to pay dividends, says Mr. E. Thank you for that. When the state give contracts to private companies, they have to do the same service or better at a lower cost, or they get sacked, says Jow. Yeah, we don't have that here. What they do, that is definitely not in the clauses of some of the contracts that the government had given out under the Conservatives to them, because we know that because a lot of them have made record amount of profit at the expense of the taxpayer, where they have used the bare minimum out of their contracts to do that. And the prime example is the contracts that the government signed up, some of the 10-year contracts that were signed up with Circa and whatnot to look after asylum seekers in certain, whether it was hotels or broken down barracks or whatnot. They are doing the barest of minimum so that they don't have to pay as much, so that they can maximize the most of their profit at the expense of British taxpayer money, at the expense of it. Elsewhere in Europe, even in privatised public sectors, the state control and have historic control and supervision on services jail there as well. Remember this one?
Austerity, Brexit, and the ongoing impact of Liz Truss's mini budget. All of those things have weighed heavily on the UK economy. Already, people thought that the UK economy would be 4% smaller because of Brexit. Now, of course, we are undoing some of that damage by the deal that we did with the EU earlier this year. But there is no doubting that the impact of Brexit is severe and long-lasting. Austerity, Brexit, and the ongoing impact of Liz Truss's mini budget. All of those things have weighed heavily on the UK economy. Already, people thought that the UK economy would be 4% smaller because of Brexit. Now,
I know I played it twice, guys, but I was about to sneeze, so I had to deal with the sneezing. I don't know how many of you can hear the fireworks in the background, but there's a lot of fireworks going on in the background as well. What do I do now? It says Indie Duck. I don't know. No, that was me sneezing. That was me sneezing, if you didn't see. I was doing this, that means I was sneezing. All the money is still here, says Doc Davis. Doc, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Let me show that. I need to show that clip from the Conservatives, because it does sum up. I hate to use the Conservatives, but the clip does sum up Rachel Reeves here. Where is it? I hate it. I hate them. Nope. Nope. Where is that clip? It was actually a very... They deleted it? They actually deleted it. No. Okay. Okay, fine. If they deleted it, that's fine. Look, it's I'm going into this budget, which, by the way, should have been given out earlier in the year. It is a joke that it is so late in the year, and I just want people to start feeling like they are better off, and a lot of people still are not feeling it. And I also accept that it does take time for things to get better. I accept that. I know it's not an easy job taking over from Conservatives who fucked everything over. I accept that. But my God, I just feel like I feel like there's a lot of small things that they can do that can make a big impact, and they're just not doing that, guys. They're just not doing that. I'll tell you what, who could be making an impact. Someone here could be making a very big impact in the United States of America, guys. This man right here.
Good morning, New York City, and thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what our neighborhoods deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day, and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
A new era for New York City. What I love about this is that even though the election is over and that he is going to be the mayor here, he's already like taking the steps between now and the next year of already telling people and being as open and transactional to the to New Yorkers about what he's intending to do. And I love this. I love this video because it just kind of like tells people this is what we are doing. Okay, it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to bed, I'm going to have a couple of days rest and whatnot. No, this is him literally saying this is what we are doing now. Campaign over, we're now in transition period, and then transition period, we're going to start laying things out. I love this. This is the transparency is so good. So good here. So where do I start? I've got so much here to talk about. This was from his speech last night when it was announced that he won. I love this this here. This is quite powerful. And what I love is how many people on the right got mad. So many right-wing politicians, influencers, so many of the so-called anti-wokers, Republicans, conservative reforms, all those people, they got so mad when he said this.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
They could not stand that. And he knew he was going to trigger so many people saying that. And you know what? I fucking love it. I love it, guys. I love it because it's about time we stuck the boot to these people on the right who only want to see us divided, who only want to see us harmed, who only want to blame all their problems on immigrants, when immigrants are the reason that have built some of the foundations of America, where immigrants have built some of the foundations of the UK. And people are so quick to forget that. They are so quick to forget that. I love that speech. I do love the speech. I'm not going to play the full speech, but I do love it. This... I don't even think we need the sound for this one. But here he is last night celebrating in New York City here. Absolutely brilliant. Gotta share this. Look at this. Zoran Mondani bobbing with... You gotta love it, guys. You gotta love it. Absolutely brilliant. And they can't stand it. Oh, they can't stand it. They can't stand it. And Fox News went ape shit this morning. they were like saying that it's over. It's the New York is gonna be the end of humanity as we know it. It was just brilliant, guys. It was just brilliant. I just want to share this. I want to share this clip that happened as well here, where he hits back on a lot of things here. When people, he's so good at countering arguments and debates about things, and I think this is really, really powerful here. So it says here that Elon Musk's endorsement is one of the most expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten because it cost him and the state of New York $959 million in tax breaks, and that's actually more money than it would cost to make every bus free in New York City. Really powerful here.
I would love all those things.
Yeah,
how do you pay for it? Who's going to end up footing the bill for those programs?
So I'll answer that question by first explaining some of the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has received. Elon Musk's endorsement is one of the most expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten because it cost him and the state of New York $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk years ago when he was the governor of this state. That's actually more money than it would cost to make every bus free in New York City. So I've said clearly that I believe we should tax the top 1% an additional 2%, that's New Yorkers making $1 million or more a year, and have the most profitable corporations pay the same tax rate they do at the top tier in New Jersey, what they would actually pay here in New York. These things together would pay for the entirety of our economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city. Because as you've said, the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has got, and this morning he started it by going on Fox and Friends, we're talking about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Stephen Miller. These are the architects in many ways of the crisis of authoritarianism that New Yorkers are facing. And Andrew Cuomo is so unwilling to tax Donald Trump's billionaire donors because he knows those are the same ones whose checks that he's busy cashing trying to get back to City Hall.
I would love.
I mean, like, he has an answer for everything. He's just so good. And I'm actually going to put up, the poll going to come out in a couple of days' time on this channel, guys, asking, how would you feel if buses were free in the UK? Just let that sink in for a second. And while you let that thought sink in, guys, I want to say a very good morning to Steve McMorran over in New Zealand. I hope you are doing well, my friend. Thank you for the 20 New Zealand dollars. That is very generous of you. The first, hopefully, of 5 super chats today, guys. So if anyone else wants to help contribute to today's super chat goal, feel free to do so. Thank you so much. That's extremely generous of you, my friend. You were very generous on Monday, and you're very generous here tonight. Hope you are doing well, and thank you for coming, and thank you for that very generous super chat. It was a great speech. It was a great speech. It was such a lovely speech to have watched this morning. I do recommend people check out his speech in full if you do get a chance as well. Free the bus with the badger emoji, says Billy Kershaw. Yeah. Like, just before I go into any more clips, guys, just think about this for a second, right? We want people to work, right? We want to encourage people to work. We want people to be able to contribute to society, right, in some way, shape, or form, right? No, we don't want people sitting on the welfare, sitting on the dole, right? So we should be doing everything we can to help people become productive members of society, and that comes with education, but it also comes with making sure that they have the healthcare they need, giving them being able to afford the homes that they need, so that they can be able to afford them if they afford them, giving them the tools that they need to succeed, right? Because if you have a productive population, that means you can have a productive economy. Yeah, the workers are what help drive the economy. You can't have an economy without people. You need people. Now, we have a lot of people here in the UK, right? All sorts of various reasons why they're on the entitlements right now. Mental health, sickness, actual disabilities and whatnot. Now, just think about for a second, like, just imagine this. Now, I'm coming from this from a London perspective, okay? But just imagine this. Imagine that if you, like me, lived in London, imagine if all the buses and tubes were free. Can you imagine how much that would benefit workers? That would be such a boom for so many. And don't just think about the people who travel to work and whatnot. Think about people who can't afford, people who are on the low end of the stick, people who are really struggling, right? Who really can't afford to go to things, right? Think about what that could do. That could encourage more people to go out and party and celebrate. That could encourage more people to go to shows and events and whatnot. That could also encourage people to find the jobs, the dream jobs that they weren't looking for. And yeah, I accept that these things come at a cost. But you are making Londoners more productive by allowing them to get wherever they need to go into in London, if we were to do that. Now, it's just, I know it comes at a cost, but I think the cost of that outweighs what the productivity would be made from work from Londoners. I think it would benefit the Treasury a lot more, and in the long term, if people didn't have to pay to get on a bus, if people didn't have to pay to get on a train. Bus was full, had to wait for the next one. Sorry, I'm late, says Billy Kershaw. I just think the idea, there's just, you know, ideas that would actually make people better. That's the thing. Improve people's lives. And because the thing is, we're not looking at helping people. We're just looking at numbers and statistics. And I just think that if we as a society look at how we can help people more, productivity and growth will come when people are better off, when people have more money in their pockets, when people are able to be more productive, when people are treated as human beings and not as bloody numbers on a statistic when they look at people on an entitlement system. This next clip, guys, is 3 things that Zohran Mamdani did for New York City before running for mayor, from helping immigrant taxi drivers to stand up for Palestinian rights. So I thought this was a very nice video clip here, just giving us a bit of an insight before really we knew him as well. So here are 3 things Mamdani did before he ran for mayor. So in 2021, soon after he was elected to the New York State Assembly, Mamdani backed a hunger strike by taxi drivers. The protest led to a deal that provided debt relief for the drivers. Taxi drivers in New York City needed to purchase medallions in order to operate. So essentially like a license, basically, to say that they can do what they do. The prices of those medallions inflated due to a lack of regulation. So they costed more, which means it was harder for taxi drivers in order to have that, which means it would be harder for them to be able to actually do their job. Forcing drivers to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans. And you know what happens when you're forced to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans. Not only do you have to pay that back, you have to pay it back with interest, and that can lead you to anxiety, stress, and making you work more than you need to. It's just an absolutely terrible ordeal for anyone to have to go through. And at least 9 people took their own lives because they couldn't pay back the loans. AJ Plus filmed Mamdani backing taxi drivers on the hunger strike itself. After 15 days, they managed to negotiate a deal that lowered their monthly payments on the loans. Mamdani helped secure funding for a pilot program to make select bus routes in New York City fare-free last year. The experiment helped increase public transport use by 30%. And one of Mamdani's campaign promises is to make buses free. So you can literally say that he already trialed it in parts of New York with corporations, and it's worked out well. The medallion for taxi drivers was $200,000, I heard, but maybe less, says Alistair Keir. 200,000! We're talking about taxi drivers here. Oh my God. 200. And he fought for them. That's why taxi drivers back Mandabi as well. And by taxing big corporations, which we know. Number 3. Mandabi has been a community organizer fighting for Palestinian rights. I think we kind of knew this already, but... In May 2023, he proposed a bill to clamp down on so-called charity funding. Illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. Yes. This is definitely really good. Yeah. That makes sense. Absolutely. In 2023, Mandabi was arrested in front of the home of US Senator Chuck Schumer. While protesting for a ceasefire in Gaza. So there's a couple of things that about Mandabi that you didn't know. Here, yeah, so interesting there. Here's a bit more from his speech if you haven't heard it, guys.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it.
Very nice indeed. I like this clip here from Sky News on here because they've got a couple of ones that we already heard here. But turn the volume up. If you don't know, that is one of the... I'm going to tell you now, I would not have been surprised if Donald Trump went into a fit of rage after he got told this. That's for sure.
Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Nothing wrong with hearing that again, guys.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Really sticking the knife into Donny there, and I love it. I love it. You know, why not? You've come this far. Why change it now? Stephen Moore, thank you for the 10 New Zealand dollars, my friend. I really appreciate your support. 3 more super chats, guys. 3 more super chats to the target if we can get there. Thank you so much for the very generous donate super chats, my friend. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, anything to add, let me know in the chat down below, in the chat as well down below. I really appreciate your very generous support, my friend. Price of range for the medallion for taxi drivers. Yeah, that's what it was. The $200,000 there. Insane. Mr. E, become a member for 10 months. Wow, 10 months. Thank you so much, Mr. E, for being for renewing your membership. Really appreciate it. I may come across as senile, but my heart is pure. I also think it's worth pointing out that as we listen to this, okay, we also have to remember that we have, as much as I love this, you know, I also want to keep my feet a little bit on the ground, as it's not as if everything is going to be perfect. There are going to be bumps on the road. He's not going to get everything that he wants. He's going to have struggles. Yeah, there are going to be challenges in front of him. And then he may end up having to do things or say things, may have to do some things and twist some things that maybe he might not want to do. There are going to be challenges for him. And he will not have all the power, He has to work with a lot of people. So while right now I relish in everything that is happening right now, I also understand that it's going to take time for him to get the things that he wants as well. And this is also the same thing. And I said this about Labour, that we had to give them time. Now, obviously, we've given them a year and a half, and it's very clear to say that we're not feeling what we felt, what they were saying. But obviously, Mandari, this is obviously different. This is very, very different. Of course, I know it's not the same thing, of course. But I do say, let's see over time what he does. He's not going to get things done straight away when he walks in on the 1st of January. But let us see over time, because I intend to keep a very close eye on what he does in New York, what he says, things that are being done. I will be keeping a very close eye on it, and on the city, and rightfully so.
When we enter City Hall in 58 days, expectations will be high. We will meet them. A great New Yorker once said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. If that must be true, let the prose we write still rhyme, and let us build a shining city for all. And we must chart a new path, as bold as the one we have already traveled. After all, the conventional wisdom would tell you that I am far from the perfect candidate. I am young, despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this.
And rightfully so. And I love that quotation, that bit at the end there where he says, refuse to apologise for being who he is. No, he's been who he is here. He's been his principle there. Yeah. We already watched that one. Oh, yeah. Here we go. There are loads of these clips, guys. There are loads of these. I'm not going to share them all. Well, I just wanted to share one to hear. I've just how Fox and friends are feeling this morning, guys.
For him, Emily. Against it. But a lot of Jews voted for him. And a lot of Jews voted for him. And that breaks my heart. New Yorkers aren't dumb. They got to elect who they wanted to lead them. And if he fails, they will elect someone else.
He will fail. Socialism failed in the Soviet Union. It'll fail in New York City.
Well,
we should all be rooting for that.
Yes. Yeah.
We should all be rooting for for the city to succeed.
Socialism's not going to succeed in New York if you want it to look the way it is right now.
They literally have said New Yorkers are dumb for choosing to vote who they want to vote for. They want New York's to fail because they have Mondami as their next mayor. Like, how, like, if you are a New Yorker and you listen to Fox News, and by the way, this is many clips of them trash talking Mondami, trash talking New Yorkers for making this decision. Like, generally, if you're a proper person who watches Fox News and you're from New York, Jesus Christ, like, you're literally being insulted. Oh, by the way, they also insulted the people of Virginia for voting Democrat as well, just to kind of add insult to injuries, because obviously they voted for a Democrat last night as well. Kind of just to throw that in there as well. Oh, by the way, just for football reference as well, Zoran Mondavi asked a question from Sky News today, and because he knew they were from Sky News, I don't have the clip with me, but he is a Arsenal fan, just for reference. Apparently, he watched Transfer Deadline Day, apparently, on Sky Sports News, apparently. Just going to put that out there, if anyone wanted to know what soccer team he supports. So it sounds like to me that he would love Arsenal to come play some friendlies next year for them in the city there. I'm sure he would love that. So here he is earlier today. He had another press conference. I don't have clips from all of it, but I'm just going to play this one here for you guys.
I think the lesson for the president is that it's not enough to diagnose the crisis in working class Americans' lives. You have to deliver on addressing that crisis. This is a president who ran a campaign on the promise of cheaper groceries, and now, as was said by one of our co-chairs, has gone so far as to cut SNAP benefits for close to 2 million New Yorkers. Someone who is literally making it harder to afford those same groceries whose price he was decrying not that long ago. And what scares Republicans across the country is the fact that we will actually deliver on this agenda. And the contrast is something that they cannot bear to witness.
Yeah. And obviously we touched on it a little bit on the Good Morning here, that I watched Vosh's video about, you know, the premiums that people's healthcare is going to go up, and some of them are going to go up by such a huge margin, and it's so damning for a lot of people. Do you know what Vosh actually said? He doesn't have health insurance. Like, he doesn't like see a doctor or anything because he won't pay for it. A lot of Americans are like that. They can't go and see a don't have healthcare because they can't afford it. And a lot of more people now are not going to be able to afford it because of this Trump administration. It's really horrible. I've covered that one. Have we already got an hour in? Oh my god. Already gone an hour in, guys. For all the nastiness and what a terrible, despicable snake man this is, at least Cuomo had the courtesy here. Let us never hear from him again after this.
Congratulations to Zoran Mondami. No. That is not right. That is not right, and that is not us. That is not us. Tonight was their night, and as they start to transition to government, we will all help any way we can because we need our New York City government to work. We want it to work for all New Yorkers because our city is the greatest city in the world, and we will unite for New York City because we love New York City.
Thought that was very nice, considering what a despicable, terrible, vile scumbag he is, and a big sellout, and with the relentless scandals and everything. The fact that he actually had the courtesy to say that. By the way, just for reference as well, as far as I'm aware, he never called Mondami to congratulate him by phone. as far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware, he still has not done that. I know the other candidate, the Republican, did call Mandami to congratulate him. Cuomo has not done that, as far as I'm aware. But I will give the tiniest of credit for Andrew Cuomo to actually have the courtesy to say to you New Yorkers, no, we need to unite because of how much New York is the great city and whatnot, as you would say there. I don't think many of you were expecting that, but there you are. They all are what you, the majority, want you to be. Believe in yourself and give your trust in others. They promise to represent you carefully. Says Mr. E with a generous £5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for that. Believe in yourself and give your trust in others. That promise to represent you carefully. Yeah. This is why I have so much faith, and we're going to transition into Zach Polanski in a minute. This is why I have so much faith in Zach Polanski, because he's saying a lot of things that people feel. You know, here in the UK, he's not Mandami, but he comes across like somebody who understands what people are going through. Which is why many people, many common sense influencers and people on the center left are willing to hear him more out. There are some idiots who are just slandering him because of his hypno stuff when they didn't even read the full context of it, or just looking for an excuse to slander him because they're afraid of the Green Party overtaking their beloved Labour Party, because Labour is not the same party it used to be 5 years ago, and they just can't handle that. But thank you, Mr. E, for that £5 super chat. I really appreciate that. Well, he surprised me, says Jal. Martin, thank you so much for the 2 CHF there. Much appreciated. This election shows there is hope in America. Thank you so much for that. It's not just America, it's the world. I said before the outcome of this, I did say it would give people on the left the belief that they can, that if obviously what Mandami did, you can't completely replicate what he does there in the UK, but you can take ideas and things and use them and use some of the tactics and methods that he used, as well as listening and understanding what people have gone through, where they've come from. And also you have to be able to show it as well. And we saw Mandami doing things in New York, fighting for New Yorkers, long before he ran as mayor of New York City. And that played really significant as well. I think that it showed that, hey, I'm willing to work on the ground levels. You know, I'm proving right there on the ground level that I want to help out, that I'm a good person, that I care. It's your actions as well as your words. So yeah, he hasn't got experience as a mayor, but he has experience in this city. He's been in the city for such a long time. And there are people on the left like this in many parts of Europe, in many places and in many different countries, who will see what he has done, and if they replicate that like he has done on a younger level, we can definitely change many countries for the better and help fight the far right and the far right and the damage that they are bringing to all of us. Thank you again, Martin, for that. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve McMahon, for the 10 New Zealand dollars. Again, that is 50 you have contributed tonight. Extremely generous. Thank you so much for your support, my friend. That is extremely generous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There is and always was, but the system is often against the status quo. It is the system, because the system is designed to be for the benefit of them and not for the ordinary people. They always want the problem is always the system, and the hardest thing is changing the system. The hardest thing is trying to change a system as well. Martin says, for the Penguins to take over the world with the 2 CHF here. Yes, the takeover is coming. As soon as Trump is defeated, Pingu and the Penguins will march on the White House. They will march for sure. Let's thank you, Martin, for those 2 super chats as well. Thank you for everyone who's contributed to the super chat goal tonight. Very generous of all of you who took part. Thank you. Right, let's continue, guys. Here's Mike Johnson taking the loss very, very well, of course. Speaker Mike Johnson.
Happened in New York City last night. For the first time in American history, an avowed, openly proclaimed socialist has been elected as the mayor of America's largest city. Zoran Mondani is without a doubt the biggest win for socialism in the history of the country, and it is the biggest loss for the American people. He is truly a committed Marxist. And the results of that race tell you everything you need to know about where the Democrats and their party are headed. Happened in New York City last.
Imagine losing New York so hard that you start quoting Cold War propaganda like it's 1953. Already giving up on New York City. Have some faith. Have some faith, Mike. Have some faith. He doesn't have any faith. He needs to have more faith. Speaking of Zach Polanski, which I mentioned as well, this I was going to touch on him in a little bit as well, guys. And just a quick reminder before we before I carry on, guys, because we're going to go up to at least. I'm going to play some other stuff as well, up to at least 5:30, and then we'll stop there. And then I'm going to go on I might go on Discord for a bit of an after chat if you guys want to join me for that for a little bit as well. Please hit that like button, share this across social media, consider subscribing if you can as well. I do want to get to 2,500 subscribers, but the best way you guys can help me do that is by hitting that like button, sharing not just this live stream, but if you do check out any other videos, sharing them across social media, leaving comments down below. All that stuff helps boost the algorithm, guys, and gets a bit more open there. Obviously, any of that stuff really does help. So if you can do that for me, guys, it'd be greatly appreciated. And thank you to everyone who's here tonight. I really appreciate everyone's comments there. I hear your mayor of London has done a terrible job, says Billy Kershaw. I know, it's just, you know, the mayor of London has done such a terrible job, and yet he's been he's done so terrible that they've elected him 3 times, Billy. Can you believe that? He's been elected mayor of London 3 times. It's almost as if he's actually doing a good job. Zach Polanski here. I love this clip. This is a great clip here. And I love the reaction of the Sky News media pundits after they were chatting to Zoran Mondani here. And this, when we talk about what Zoran has done, this is another example of why I do have a lot of faith in Zach Polanski right now.
Zach Polanski, leader of the Green Party. Is he the British Mandani?
You're speaking to him imminently.
Are you the British Mandani?
I think what Zoran really did was connect with the lives of ordinary people, mobilise young people, and it wasn't just about social media. I think that sometimes it becomes about the communication style. He's undoubtedly an incredible communicator, but actually I think it was about the policies. It was a relentless focus on inequality, and that's exactly what we're going to do here.
And we've been talking all morning about the authenticity of Mamdani. Absolutely a comparison to be made there.
Yeah, there is.
Do you know what? And for our jobs, the best authentic part of it is answering the questions.
Yeah, I know.
I've thought this for ages, that if you stick to these PR prepared comms answers, it's not helping them. It's hurting politicians that do that. People want authentic. They can see through the answers that are pre-prepared and not being answered. And it comes across so well. And you ask some really tough questions to predict forward to being Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Normally they'd be like, gosh, I can't possibly go there.
I thought it was really interesting. He basically said that now 30 to 40 MPs, the Green Party is unambitious at the next election. I cannot tell you what a transformation of our kind of electoral maps that would be if that's unambitious. And also that he wants to hold the balance of power in the next government.
And that was my second big takeaway. All of those questions were absolutely spot on. But
thanks, Will.
No,
nice, isn't he?
but if we had discussed that 2 weeks ago, we would have thought it's mad. The momentum is crazy. And again, that brings back to Mamdani a bit. It's kind of like Mamdani 6 months ago before he got the Democratic nomination. Yeah. And, you know, it's amazing how quickly the questions you would ask him have drastically changed and it not sound ludicrous.
I love this. I love this because, and this shows just how pathetic, and I do have to use the word pathetic, that the rest of the political parties do. because you had a politician talking to them, getting asked questions and being as open as honest and not shying away from the tough questions. And that's what Zach Polanski did. You don't get from any of the big parties, never mind Reform Russia, but Labour, Conservatives, the Lib Dems, they all come in with their scripted questions and answers. They're always like that. And you can resonate that because you know that. How many times have you heard MPs and politicians being on these panels and programs when they get asked very important questions and they don't give a yes or no answer, or they don't give a clear answer to the question? You don't get that from Zach. And I need to see more Green MPs. They need to do more of what he is doing. They need to do more of what he is doing, be more bold and be more clear about where the Green Party is going, the Green Party's policies, taking on the difficult questions, and not being afraid to challenge as well. Don't get me wrong, I think Zach is really leading that example in such a short space of time. And these two journalists, so whatever you might think of the Sky News journalist team, Sky News itself, like the fact that they are saying this on the camera, on the national television after having an interview, that speaks volumes about how they personally feel when they are conducting interviews and talking to other politicians, the bog standard ones. And yet they didn't get that bollocks here. For a long time, they actually spoke to a politician that was being honest and clear about what he says, about the difficult questions and whatnot. And it really does speak truth to power. I thought that was really good, but I thought that was a really fascinating insight there. And again, it adds to giving us hope and optimism. It really does. Which leads us back to why we don't have a lot of optimism for neither the government or the opposition party. So Deputy Prime Minister's questions, and thank God I didn't cover it, because it was one of the worst Deputy Prime Minister questions I have ever seen. This is what it was, guys. And don't get me wrong, I am getting this from the Conservatives' perspective, but this is all it was, right? So David Lammy refused 5 times to tell us if another illegal migrant offender had accidentally been released from prison. Now we know why. The David Lammy can't say counter here. This is look, for all the bollocks that the Conservatives get, the fact that David Lammy couldn't give a clear answer on this did make him look a little bit silly as well.
Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison?
Well, the House is thankfully quiet, so I'm surprised.
I'm going to ask him the question again. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a very specific question for him to answer.
After his release.
Now, what he should have done is, rather than dodge the question, is say, I cannot say, he can't say that it's going to be, he should just be honest. Be honest. Yeah, he said, and David Lammy, obviously the Conservatives are going to editing this video to make it look favourable to them. But for those who did watch Prime Minister's questions, right, he should have said, he said all the right things about the mistakes and the Conservatives have left the state that they've left all things in, right? But what he should have said was that he should have said, no, I can't say that another illegal migrant offender has accidentally been released from prison. I can't say that unequivocally. He needs to just be straight up here. And he couldn't do that. And that was essentially the 6 questions that he was asked in the 6 questions from the Conservatives.
I'm going to repeat it once more for the avoidance of doubts, because he didn't answer it twice. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a clear question. Can he give an answer?
Deputy Prime Minister. Get a grip, man.
I'm going to ask him.
He didn't actually do that shaking with the arms there. That was AI edited. That was edited by the Conservatives.
Again, he's the Justice Secretary. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? The public are extremely concerned about what happened in the Kabatu case. They want to know there won't be a repeat. I repeat, can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? Can he answer the question?
Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to being...
The Telegraph are reporting that a police manhunt has been launched for a second asylum seeker mistakenly freed from prison. The question is, Mr. Speaker, can you advise me on how I can ask the Justice Secretary whether he was aware of this when I asked him about it repeatedly in Prime Minister's question?
David Lammy really looked bad there. The 6 questions, the same question, Reganelite. A good point you're making. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I hate the Conservatives. I hate this tweet from them. But unfortunately, David Lammy really didn't help himself by not answering the question. He did not help himself by answering the question. However, I will say this, though. We did have one positive before that debacle.
And can I start by congratulating the Deputy Prime Minister on being the first black person to ever answer Prime Minister's question? A landmark moment for this place in our country, and I hope he is proud.
Well, it's very kind of the honourable gentleman to say that, and I'm conscious that my right honourable friend, the member for Hackney North and Stoke Newington, and indeed the leader of the opposition, are both trailblazers who've stood at this dispatch box, and it's important to recognise the progress that we've been made.
Like that. I thought that was a nice little thing to add there with regards to Prime Minister's questions there. I thought they were worth adding in there, guys. Should I really go down? Do I really have to do this once? Well, we still got time, guys. So, Reform Russia are still talking bollocks. And here they are talking bollocks here. So, Richard Lice, the leech that won't go away, here he was speaking to the Times here, and this was yesterday. He said the Times headline that says Reform promised to bring council tax down is simply untrue and has to be corrected. Sig Abigail says the Times quotes local leaflets saying that we'll cut taxes, and Richard Tice said we never said such a thing, guys. Yeah, okay. Now before I play that clip, let me see if I've got the I just want to see if I sent that clip to Max, but I also sent him something else, and I didn't bookmark it. Let me see if I can find it here. Where is it? There we go. Can you give me that? Yes, you can. Thank you. Yep. Bring that down. Right. Okay. Now I'm just gonna show you this, and then I'm gonna take you to Richard Tice here. Okay. So here we go. Remember, he said that. Right. Just look at these leaflets. Right. Look at them very carefully. Okay. These are reform leaflets here. Okay. Reduce council or waste. Help cut your taxes. Cut your taxes. Right. Slash red tape. Right. But there's the point. The main one. Yeah. Cut your taxes. Okay. Okay, here's another one here. Reduce waste and cut your taxes. There we go. Okay, remember, this is what Reform are saying here. Reduce waste and cut your taxes. There, you can see it there. Reduce waste, cut your taxes. There it is there. Okay, it's not me. It's just what Reform are saying. And you might have to turn your head, but I'm pretty sure you can see there. It says reduce waste and cut your taxes there. Okay, remember, that's what it says. That's what the leaflet says. Okay. Here's Richard Tice.
It's not often I have to correct your headlines, Stig, but
go on.
The headline there that said we promised to bring council tax bills down is simply untrue and has to be corrected. We said we would save money. I'll be giving a press conference in 2 weeks' time about that, but you must correct that untruth.
The Warwickshire leaflet, we're talking about the local council, the Warwickshire leaflet.
We didn't say we'd bring the council tax bills down, but I'm now happy to, having put that on the record, I'm happy to move on.
No, you said...
So I think Richard Tice is Richard Tice is telling porcupines, chat. What do you think? What do you think? Well,
I've got you know, the Times quotes the leaflets. The Warwickshire Reform Party leaflet said, "We will cut your taxes." The Worcestershire Party leaflet said, "We will reduce waste and cut your taxes." That sounds like promises to cut taxes to me.
We very clearly said at the campaigns that we would save waste, we would cut wasteful spending, and that's what we'll be talking about. We did not promise.
Sorry, I'm saying there's two leaflets from two reform campaigns in local elections, one in Warwickshire, one in Worcestershire, and they say the phrase "cut your taxes."
I've not seen those leaflets, Bills, but we specifically we never said that at the party leadership level. So I just want that to be corrected.
But at the local level, which is where indeed local elections take place, the leaflet said we will cut your taxes in Warwickshire, and in Worcestershire said they will cut your taxes. What I'm saying to you.
Then you send me those leaflets, because I'm telling you that Nigel and I, we very clearly said we will cut waste, we will cut wasteful spending, unproductive spending. We'll give an update on that in 2 weeks' time.
The danger is, though, that people believe a reform council...
They're a bunch of fucking liars. Okay? How much more obvious does it need to get? Like, literally, I've just, like, as he is talking, I am switching it right here to you. This, once again, proves Reform Russia are liars. They said they would bring your taxes down. Cut your taxes. They literally said that on their leaflets. And here is Richard Tice dismissing that they are saying that. It's taking the public for a bunch of fools. It's so important this gets called out. So important. People need to be aware of this. That the Reform Russia are blatantly lying about their policies. They've changed their policies when they had the contract at the general election. They are picking and choosing things at their own convenience, not for the benefit of people.
Would not be doing the same old, and the same old is having council taxes increasing, and that's exactly what's happening. 8 out of 13 are going to have increased council taxes.
Have you heard of inflation?
I have, yes.
Right. Well, then you've got inflation, so everybody's bills go up as a standard by the rate of inflation. It's then what you can do in terms of saving money, cutting wasteful spending, in order to reduce the rate of growth of bills. That's the key point.
Yeah, but what about, you said your party was going to bring cut taxes. Your party talked about cutting taxes. Your party said that.
I guess the issue is, though, that the Times quotes numerous, as I said, the Warwickshire one, the Worcestershire one. Dan Harrison, the leader of Leicestershire County Council, promised tax cuts on his first day in office, but has all since said it has an ambition to increase bills by 3%. What I'm saying is, you can talk about the national level all you like. At local level, people got in saying we're going to cut taxes, and that hasn't happened.
Because they lied. They lied. They're lying on a national level, and they're going to lie on a local level. This needs to be called out, and people need to know about this. Remember, they will be doing everything they possibly can to hide this fact, to hide that they were lying to the British public here. It's so important that people know this. No pension, no healthcare. If you are a pensioner voting for reform, you are voting for death.
Sometimes you have to be truthful with people and say, we cannot take the country towards bankruptcy. Debt to GDP is 100%.
The country can't go bankrupt, by the way. That's not true.
You'd be so truthful when the election is pending.
That's why we're starting it now. Whenever the election is, let's have these difficult conversations in plenty of time, in a rational, grown-up way and say, what can we do? If we don't create any growth back to 2-3% a year or more, which we used to have in the 80s and 90s.
You mean, no, Richard Tice. You mean the 3-4% of growth that we had before Brexit. That's what you're meant to say. Not the 1970s and 80s. Before Brexit, before we left the European Union is what you're meant to say.
Then we're heading towards bankruptcy.
Again, we can't get bankrupt. This is bollocks. Even I'm not an economist, but even I know that's not going to happen.
Say it is possible then, and I understand the election is probably some way away, but you are saying it is possible that reform will do some work now that leads to you in your manifesto in the run-up to the election saying, we, never mind what the other parties are saying or how much they shilly-shally around this issue, we are thinking that we could say the triple lock ends.
Absolutely. Nigel has already clearly said we're not guaranteeing it. We have to look at what's affordable, where are the growth levels, and then if you get growth, you can make choices about where to spend it. If you've got no growth that we've got at the moment, then if you're borrowing £150 billion a year, don't be surprised if the bond market say, stop, something's got to give, and that's where we're headed.
Yep. So if you're a pensioner voting reform, you are voting for death. Literally. And just a reminder from Reform Party UK Exposed there, a long list of names who have been kicked out, suspended, resigned or defected. And it's quite a long list there from Reform Party Exposed here. And I wanted to share this great video here from Femi before we go to our funny video to see ourselves out here, guys. Young people earning minimum wage should be paid less. Young people earning £100,000 should be paid more. You think this man cares about working class young people? Your brain is pudding. Take it away, Femi.
If you're Gen Alpha or younger end of Gen Z, this is a message for you. If you've seen this guy on your feed and you're trying to decide what you think of Nigel Farage, just want you to compare the next two clips.
There's an argument the minimum wage is too high for younger workers, but perhaps the biggest disaster are young professionals who are caught in the £100,000 a year tax trap.
So he thinks that young people who are earning the minimum wage should earn less, but he says the biggest disaster is that young people who are earning £100,000 a year aren't earning enough.
Oh, the humanity! Oh, what am I going to do? I'm only earning £100,000 a year, guys. I mean, like, that's just not doable for me. I mean, how am I supposed to... I want to get an updated butler for my home. You know, I can't go on another weekly holiday unless I earn a bit more than £100,000, guys. Where am I supposed to get my new golden toilet? Like, come on, guys, please help me out here. I'm not earning enough money for these very, very important, luxurious items in my life. And breathe.
Do you think that he's in politics to help you? Do you see a £100,000 a year salary in your near future? Do you? When you're deciding whether or not this guy is on your side, please remember, this man thinks that young people who are earning minimum wage should earn less. He thinks the minimum wage is too high and should be lowered. But for young people earning £100,000 a year, oh, we're taxing them too much. This man does not care about you. If you're seeing this video, likelihood is this man does not care about you. So please tell your friends at school that this man is a danger to everybody.
Very well put, Femi. Very well put. And thank you for pointing this out in the speech as well. I love that. Very, very good here from Femi. And rightfully so, over 151,000 people on Twitter has seen this. And I can imagine a lot of people on Twitter, on TikTok have probably seen this clip as well. Very well done from Femi here. Very well put. Needed to be said. Needed to be said indeed. So, I need to find... I actually haven't gotten a new video. That sucks. Oh, I haven't got... I haven't got... Okay. All right, we'll see ourselves out with this video then, guys. Let's just play this video because it's funny. If you remember this video, guys. Go on, Ice. Go on, Ice. Go on, Ice officers. You can get him. Go on. You can get him. Go on. Oh, you missed it again. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Ah, come on, Ice. We're still paying these buggers. We're still paying these fecking clowns, and they still can't catch a guy on a bike. You're paying how much? We're still paying these guys despite a government shutdown, and they can't even catch a kid on a bloody bike. What a bloody joke! Absolute bloody joke. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, guys. So, guys, we've gone well over time, guys. I first of all want to say a massive thank you to everyone who gave super chats tonight. Thank you, Steve, for your generous super chats. Thank you, Martin, as well, and Mr. E for your super chats. And thank you also, Mr. E, for becoming renewing your membership. It was you, wasn't it, Mr. E? I'm definitely not losing my mind. It was you, Mr. E, didn't it, that renewed membership, because I have a terrible memory. It was member for 10 months. 10 months, guys. Mr. E's been a member for 10 months. How awesome is that? Thank you so much for being a member for 10 months. Thank you so much. That is absolutely awesome. Yeah, thank you everyone who have for everyone for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate all your thoughts as well. And I hope you guys found tonight interesting, fascinating, thoughtful, informative, and helpful in some way, shape, or form. I really hope so, guys. I'm going to pop on the Discord for a little bit. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on there. Probably about 20 minutes, maybe a bit more. So if you guys want to come on for a little bit, have a wee chat with me for a little bit, you're more than welcome to join me on there for a bit. Because I didn't do one on Monday, so I'm going to come on for a little bit. So if you guys want to join me on Discord for a little bit, you can do. I'll ping the server if you guys want to come and say hello. But if not, I will be back live again tomorrow at 11 a.m. for another Good Morning show. And then tomorrow evening, myself and One Angry Pagan with the Eco Flake show. We have a lot to discuss for sure. So do join us for that, as well as our brand new intro, which I'm very excited to share because we absolutely love it. So do join us for that, where we talk all kind of things: climate change, the climate change, rising sea levels, the environment, all that kind of stuff, guys. We do it once a month, so do join us for that live stream. And then the following week, guys, myself, Dave McGuinness, and 2 others will be doing another round table chat. I'm really looking forward to that as well. So do join me, join myself and Dave McGuinness for that as well. But again, guys, thank you again all for coming. But on your way out, if you can, please hit that like button, share this across social media. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already as well. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content, which are down. Links for both of those platforms are in the description. Free content on them. You don't have to pay to see those content. They are free to watch as well. Additional content on there as well. So thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.